Hallo und herzlich willkommen bei unserem Was ist End of Line Stream. Genau, vielen Dank an die Entwickler, die mir hier einen Key zur Verfügung gestellt haben. Das Spiel kam jetzt, glaube ich, am 25. raus. Wir sind jetzt immer noch im Big Picture Mode. Fällt mir gerade auf. Wie mache ich diesen Big Picture Mode eigentlich aus? Exit Big Picture Mode, thank you. Weil ich hätte jetzt auch ganz einfach nur den normalen... jetzt habe ich den normalen Modus. So, also jetzt hier nochmal. Sorry. Die Store-Page, genau. Am 25. Mai kam das raus. Und wir versuchen hier die Klimakatastrophe zu überleben. Sah auf jeden Fall sehr, sehr hübsch aus. Also der Grafikstil ist so schön. Und deswegen habe ich gedacht, so, oh komm, das hört sich doch interessant an. Das sieht auch interessant aus. Vielleicht ist das ein Spiel, das euch interessieren könnte. Und deswegen, genau, sind wir jetzt hier und haben uns hier das Spiel geholt. Es kostet 13,99, ist anscheinend auch kein Early Access mehr, damit ihr schon mal ein bisschen Bescheid wisst. Und dann würde ich sagen, fangen wir jetzt einfach mal an, indem wir hier Start drücken und gucken mal rein. But mother, you can't give up. Nora glares at me, face rigid with anger. I don't answer straight away. I look out through the gap between the hangings, the blinding light that strikes the arid ground. I cannot go out before nightfall anymore. If I attempt it, I will founder. I will founder? Wait, what? Wait. Müssen noch ein bisschen leiser machen. Oder? Oh, actually. Das heißt sinken, untergehen, scheitern, stolpern, straucheln. Kannte ich noch nicht als Verb. Today I learned. If I tempted, I will founder, struck down by the breath of the jinns. I hardly recognize the landscapes of my childhood in this barren wasteland. Our lands have always been arid, but before there were oases and a semblance of peace, journeys were always attended by song. That time has passed long ago. Today, the dance of the burning winds is fiercer and fiercer, heard like the senseless rhythm of dissonant tins, and I know I have no time for falling into melancholy. Explain my decision to my daughter. Nora, do you remember the fable, the lion, the panther, the tahuri and the jackal? My question disconcerts her. Anger debates a little. Yes, mother. What lesson do you think you can learn from it today? What do you mean? Would you prefer to be in the place of the jackal or the tahuri? Rounds. The jackal is tricked from start to finish. The tahuri is much smarter. But I would still prefer to be the lion who takes the largest share. Don't you agree, mother? You disappoint me. Einfach so. Das hört sich total gut an, ne? Das ist richtig gutes Parenting. Wenn deine Tochter eine eigene Entscheidung trifft, sagst du nicht einfach so, okay. Nee, eine Enttäuschung. Ich habe gehört, so funktioniert ganz gut Elternsein. I prefer the panther. That's the most desirable position, of course. A panther? Forgotten by everyone? She may be forgotten, but she does not submit. We may have neither the claws nor the fangs of the lion. In any event, power is a curse. Let the others brawl over the scraps, let us take our small share without fuss and keep ourselves safe. I beckon her to come and help me up. She comes immediately and we take a few steps across the worn rugs that cover the floor. Anyway, it's been a very long while since there were any lions or tahuris or jackals. That's true. I have something else on my mind right now. How old is your son, Nora? He'll be 7 next spring. So many years we've passed trying to leave this desert. Yes, mother. How many companions have we lost? Looks away. 21. Also wir können auch richtig Arsch sein. Ja. I struck a hand. She hides her sorrow, but I know that each one of their names is carved on her heart. We cannot continue like this. Our tribe is no more than an exhausted huddle. We are too slow and the heat will kill us all in the end. Do you truly believe that staying here will save you? We can certainly survive for a few moons. Your task during that time will be to lead the most stalwart among us to a more welcoming place. But mother, I don't want to leave you. Listen to me, Nora. I've reached the end of my journey, but you haven't. She tries to interrupt, but I raise my hand for silence. You and Rafik. You'll choose from the volunteers. Jessa, Silva and her brother Amin will certainly go. You also take your son and your husband, Camille. He will be your guide to find a better land. Camille? A guide? I allow her a few seconds to digest this information. Yes, Nora. You have all the qualities of a great war chief, but to survive this time needs a panther, not a lion. She nods. I understand, mother. Take her hands. Of course you understand. You didn't choose him by chance after all. Yes. Perhaps I've always known. Good. So go and get him. I need to speak to him. Then gather everyone together. I'll announce my decision at nightfall. Ich finde ja wirklich, der Zeichenstil ist so hübsch. Damn. Sit back down again to wait the coming of the gentle-hearted outlander. He's an intensively just man, and he's also the one among us who knows the way into the north. Among us! Oh my god, sorry, that's the only one who could navigate amongst the wreckages of this world adrift. A few minutes later, he enters, swathed in the blue robe that Nora made for him. Camille's poise has increased with these last years. Journey suits him. He comes towards me with deference. I suppose Nora has explained why I've summoned you. Yes, she has, Matrick. So, will you agree to guide the company through the remains of this world? Gazes far away for several seconds. I have no idea what life outside the desert is like now, nor if there's any life out left. It is true that we've had no contact with the outside for several years. The last we heard, wars and epidemics had struck all the cities. That was more than 10 years ago. There can't be much remaining outside the desert. I don't know why I just said desert instead of desert. Maybe I'm hungry for sweet stuff or so. Vielleicht. Hab ich Bock auf süße Sachen. Nichts hat sie gesagt. Ja. Scusi. I fear to find nothing but ruins. Takes a moment to consider. Why should we go, in your opinion? I suggest that you'll return to where you came from. Our lands have become uninhabitable. I'm afraid that mine won't be any better, at least not for much longer. Each year the seasons are hotter and drier. That will have to stop someday. He says nothing, but gives a little shrug. Won't it? Well, not necessarily. Explain yourself. There was a theory when I was young. It was called the Venus theory. What is it? If global warming reaches a certain magnitude, there are multiple tipping points which could lead the planet onto a path where the climate becomes out of control. He pauses, looking for the right words. That's to say that the phenomena triggered by the global warming would continue to add carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and so would keep increasing the warming exponentially, and we could do nothing to stop it. The greenhouse effect would become so strong that it would eventually boil the oceans, making all life impossible. Silent, shaken in spite of myself by this apocalyptic vision. They think that's what happened on Venus millions of years ago. The Venus Theory. Es ist gut, dass wir so ein Happy-Thema haben, um den Abend einzuleiten, oder? Findet ihr nicht auch? He nods. And you believe we are on the path to the same thing? I don't know. It's a very striking theory, but I think it's quite unlikely. I encourage him to continue. From what I understand, the climate would be more likely to stabilize once the carbon emissions had ceased. And in fact, I believe that's where we are now. Though you're optimistic. Not really, because even if we concede that life on Earth is not in danger, the climate stabilization will take time, and I don't know what will remain of the human race after the next century. No matter what, life has become impossible here, but other habitable places must still exist. I refuse to believe that the 21st century will signal the end of humanity. Ich weiß ja nicht. Weiß nicht. Egal. It's pretty unlikely, saying that there's still a decade before the 22nd. Perhaps we still got some surprises ahead of us. Whatever the case, it is time to see what we can do to adapt to this new world. Das Neuland. As you say, we've reached the end of a cycle. One story finishes, another begins. Ich bin gespannt. Ist das eigentlich ein Roguelite? Story that's for you to write now. Vielleicht ist es tatsächlich ein Roguelite. So, in End of Line, certain situations can lead to a change of narrative. Well, some of your decisions can influence the identity of the next narrator. Okay. Most of the choices offered to you favor one of the following archetypes. The line favors the direct approach and confrontation, seeks to arm themselves and strike first, is suspicious of others, always expects the worst, is ruthless. The Panther avoids confrontation, prefers to flee danger, displays doubt, doesn't like to stay in one place, sacrifices themselves or for others. The Tahuri, eine Hyäne, vermutlich dann. Seeks out social interaction, eagerly accumulates wealth, strives to establish exchanges, will manipulate others, prefers the sedentary lifestyle. Choose wisely. Okay. Ich höre gerade was im Hintergrund. Muss mal ihm Bescheid geben. Und guten Abend, Dorado. Schön, dass du da bist. Wie geht's dir denn? Gerade ein wunderbar motivierendes und Freude und glücklich machendes Spiel hier. Hi, Banshee. Es heißt End of Lines. Und es ist so ein... Ja, was ist es dann? Ein Survival in der Klimaapokalypse. Nach der Klimakatastrophe. Ihr seht, alles Wüste, alles Mist. Und wir müssen darin jetzt überleben. Und ich muss zugeben, ich habe ein bisschen vergessen, ob das jetzt ein Roguelite war. Aber ja, weil wir hatten jetzt irgendwie, keine Ahnung, eine ganze Viertelstunde Exposition einfach nur. Und das war schon so ein bisschen krass. Richtig, richtig viel Story. Servus Indiners. Wie geht's dir denn? Ist eine wunderschöne Woche gehabt. Und ja, es sieht wunderschön aus. Also wirklich. Oh. Aber es war jetzt gerade schon viel Story. Erstmal. So, genau. Und es wurden jetzt gerade die 3 Erzähler vorgestellt. Also 3 Erzählertypen, die wir haben. Löwe, Panther und Tahuri, was vermutlich eine Hyäne ist. Also Tahuri, würde ich sagen, ist einfach nur der potenziell afrikanische, in irgendeiner afrikanischen Sprache, ich weiß nicht welcher. Es ist nicht. Warte mal, wie hieß sie? Gott, welche waren es denn? Waren es die. Irgendeine skandinavische Sprache klang so, wie ich gedacht hätte, dass es eine afrikanische Sprache gewesen wäre. Es war sehr, sehr witzig. Ich weiß aber auch gerade nicht mehr, wie sie heißt. Es war in irgendeinem Clip. Schau mal zu. Muss nebenbei was machen. Ja, kenn ich. So, also. It'll soon be years since we left the clan and Matriarch behind us. Feels like an eternity. We've crossed lands and seas until we've worn to the bone. Now that we've stopped walking, it's oddly silent. There's no sound but the wind and the crunch of the grains of sand between our teeth. Ich muss ja sagen, der Sound von Wind, der ist echt hübsch. Der ist so schön. Weiß nicht, ich mag das Geräusch von diesem starken Wind. Ich erinnere mich da an einen wunderschönen Moment, wo ich auf so einem riesen Felsen in England, potenziell Schottland, am Strand stand. Auf so einem riesengroßen Felsen, also wirklich, keine Ahnung, Dutzende Meter hoch. Unten das Meer, das immer dagegen knallte. Wir haben von der Gischt oben gar nichts mehr mitbekommen, weil es einfach viel zu hoch dafür war. Oben einfach nur dieser Wind in den Ohren, am ganzen Körper, der die ganze Zeit ein bisschen an dir rumgezerrt hat. To be honest, das war eigentlich ziemlich lebensmüde eigentlich, dass ich mich an den Rand gesetzt habe, wie ich das getan habe. Aber ich habe mich an den Rand der Klippe gesetzt und habe die Beine runterbaumeln lassen. Das war richtig geil. Und da gab es diesen wunderschönen Wind. Ah, schön. Sky is red. Or is it? It's so hot that it feels red. When did it stop being blue? And there's this mound of stones. A religious relic, probably. The ancient road that I guide our little company along used to be travelled by pilgrims. But today, I have no use for religions and gods. The only thing that matters to me is our survival, especially that of Sam, the only child in our company. Oh no! Wait, haben wir vorhin einen Namen gesagt bekommen von ihrem, also sie war unser Erzähler, der Camille, und die Nora, seine Frau, haben ein Kind, einen Sohn. Und ich erinnere mich nicht, ob sie einen Namen genannt haben. Ich glaube, es war ein anderer. Es war ein anderer oder nicht Sam. Oder also entweder kein Name genannt, aber es war auf jeden Fall nicht Sam. Das heißt, eventuell ist das Kind schon, ja, ob's gegangen. Gut. Hätte einfach nur klicken müssen, da steht ja schon My Child. Okay, so, Kind hat überlebt, ich keine Angst mehr haben. I checked the map entrusted to me by a poor woman a few weeks ago. She said that this was the only road we could still take. This road should take us north to a more welcoming place. So. Wer hat jetzt übrigens auch noch einen Ohrwurm von This is the only road? Oder sagt er eigentlich Lonely Road? Klar. Ja, vermutlich I walk a lonely road, aber irgendwie habe ich das gerade sofort im Ohr gehabt. Lonely Road, the only one. Ach, so ging das. Ja, deswegen hat das irgendwie, ja, musikalisch assoziiertes Hirn, ey. Toward the land where I was born and that I left more than 20 years ago. I don't know how much it has altered. Everything has changed so fast. I hope that we'll find a place fit to live. We can settle in peace. Rafik breaks the silence with several groans as he unburns himself of his pack. He allows himself a mouthful of water and grumbles under his breath before turning to me. I'm dead. Yes, we're all worn out. He gives a smile. I don't know. Nora doesn't seem to be suffering too much. He jerks his chin to Nora. Nora, who I'd agreed to marry over 10 years ago. Irgendwie, das klingt nicht so, als hätte er Bock gehabt auf die Hochzeit. wo er zugestimmt hat zu heiraten. Nicht so, wo er gesagt hat, so, das ist die Frau von meinem Leben, für immer, bitte ja, sondern nur so, ach, meinetwegen. Weiß nicht, geht das nur mir so? I smile back. Nora never seems to be suffering too much. Your offspring the day she gave birth to your offspring. You're forgetting the day she gave birth to your offspring. Laugh escapes me. I forgot nothing. That was precisely the day when I realized that she was stronger than you will ever be, Rafik. Sure, that's right. And in the meantime, it's me who's lugging the equivalent of her weight around on my back. I roll my eyes. Don't you get sick of complaining? Never. We should have exchanged you for a mule when we had the chance. That would have been one of your rarest rational decisions. My decisions are always perfectly rational. If that was the case, you'd have decided to marry me. It's my turn to laugh. Would you have accepted? Of course not. What am I supposed to do with a shrimp like you? And anyway, you're right. Nora's the strongest of us all. She'll bury us all. His words pull me back to the harsh reality of our quest. Good humor has passed like a too light breeze. No, not all. Not Sam. He grips my shoulder kindly and answers with a solemn face as though making me a promise. No, not Sam, of course. Fest. Die generelle Darstellung erinnert mich an Disco Elysium. Davon habe ich, glaube ich, nur Bilder gesehen. Aber ich glaube, farbentechnisch könnte es hinkommen. Ich weiß nicht, was... Obwohl, Zeichenstil technisch auch. Ich glaube, es sind andere Menschen. We joined the others to set up the camp. I head toward Inaya and her son, to help them get settled in. The couple had recently joined us. They'd been trying to survive as best they could in the ruins of the edge of a big city. They were fortunate to meet us. We avoid going near the cities in general. These days, violence and sickness hold sway there. The path we're following crosses small villages instead, long deserted. Naya and Son wanted to join us. Our life of travelling is hard, but I know that it's the only course. The droughts and the heat waves which forced us to leave our lands have continued to hit more and more regions. Those rare places where it's still possible to subsist will inevitably disappear. Everywhere we go, there's no other choice but to leave. I couldn't abandon the couple to certain death. I agreed that they could come with us. They're still young, but have been courageous and grateful so far. They're gentle, considerate people. Sometimes I get the feeling that they're too fragile for this existence. The youth today is far too soft. Sorry, was? Oh, es gibt sogar ein bisschen Musik. Also, ich weiß nicht. Allein schon auf dem, was wir jetzt bisher gesehen haben, wenn ihr auf Story steht, wenn ihr auf Atmosphäre steht, ich glaube, ist das Spiel schon direkt für euch. Also ich würde es jetzt, also bisher würde ich es empfehlen. Einfach nur von dem, was ich bisher gesehen habe. Auch wir haben ja eigentlich noch gar kein Gameplay gesehen, ne? Wir haben einen Teaser von, ja, du wirst Entscheidungen treffen irgendwann. Wir haben davon noch nichts gesehen. Das ist, wir haben eine halbe Stunde jetzt gespielt. Ich meine, wir haben auch noch, keine Ahnung, 5 bis 10 Minuten mit Memories verbracht, aber trotzdem. Sam comes over to cling to my leg as I cover our tent to protect us from the heat. I ruffle his hair with affection. Can I drink, Daddy? Das Wort Daddy ist so verbrannt, ey. Yes, of course. I give him my flask. We're not going to die of thirst, right? Good question. No. I still got reserves, and soon we're going to cross an old river. There'll be some water for sure. Come here, I'll show you. I put him on my knee and show him the map. It's a worn old paper, scattered with lettering language I don't understand, but the lines across its surface are still readable. You can still even see some landmarks, some I think I recognize, like the mound of stones that used to shelter a religious symbol that we're camping at near today. Sometimes the lines separate and meet, branching decisions we will soon have to make. We trace the fragile lines with our fingertips as they fade and reappear across the tiers and creases of the map. Taz, nicht hier. Sam's small hand and mine discover the possible futures and the tracks that await us. Will they be strewn with pitfalls or pleasant surprises? Probably a bit of both. Whatever the case, these lines guide us towards the hope of a more welcoming land. We cling to that hope, but in truth, we have no idea what we'll find here at the end of the map. Where the lines end. Ein komischer, ein abruptes Ende von dem Lied. Schade. Ein bisschen auch zu früh. Heute haben so Frösche echt Bock auf meinen Hals. Das ist ein bisschen weird. Bin nicht so frogophil für gewöhnlich. Deswegen eher so uncool. Wake up. Sound! So, alle wieder wach. The noonday sun has shortened the shadows. Toward the horizon, the dazzling, relentless glare draws salt and water to my eyes. Salt and water. I try to swallow. My throat is like sandpaper. The water's precious. There's not enough. All of a sudden, I think of my father, of his life, of before. Did he know? He leans against the bar as usual. The bar, a double espresso in a disposable cup. Did he know the price to be paid for those few drops of bitter petrol black liquid? As I come through the glass door, he absently swallows another mouthful of coffee. He seems suddenly preoccupied by this tiny stain on the cuff of his new shirt, impeccably ironed, made in some country at the other end of the planet. My throat is dry. There's not enough water. Did he know what awaited us? I'm assailed by a wave of disgust, of anger. I wait a few seconds on the threshold, trying to calm myself. It's him who sees me, who recognizes me. He raises his eye from his shirt cuff and his gaze meets mine. He smiles at me. A smile bursting with paternal love, unshakable. I lean on the bar next to him. I don't know what to say. I don't know where to begin. What are you doing? For a moment, he doesn't understand. As you say, I'm having a coffee. He shows me his cup. I don't know if I should read amusement or condescension in the calm, patient voice he uses. Just the day you were born, I'm going to get a call from your mother soon. Without thinking, he pulls a smartphone from his jacket pocket and places it gently on the bar, as if it were the most precious thing he possessed. I'm a little surprised, for as long as I can recall, my father never owned a smartphone. The phone vibrates furtively, as if it felt that we were looking at it. My father automatically looks down at the screen. Shouldn't you be at work or with Mum? Actually, I was in a meeting with a client. I just finished. As I'm a little early, I allowed myself a quick coffee before going back. He throws a furtive glance at his phone. Saying that, the telephone's going to ring soon to give me the news, and I can promise you they won't be seeing me again soon. I tend to make the most of my paternity leave, although I didn't really want a child that much. But come here, my angel. Now that you're here, I've no regrets. I'll make the same mistakes over again just to be able to see you live and grow again. He puts his hand gently on my shoulder. Recreation is nothing but animal instinct. The words come out of my mouth sharper than I intended. My anger is undiminished. Lets his hand drop limply. We look at each other in silence for a few moments, and the instant he opens his mouth to answer me, the smartphone vibrates again, but with more authority this time. Oh hell, it's the battery. Thing discharges faster and faster. It's a real problem. My turn, I put my hand on his shoulder and shake him softly. Dad, we're dying. We're dying of hunger and thirst. Your children. Your grandchildren. We look at each other deep in the eyes. Come here, I'm sorry, forgive me. He gives a small, resigned smile. He finishes his coffee in one swallow and replaces the cup on his saucer. I notice the sugar lump still wrapped in gaudy paper. Glance over all these blind people, invisible, transparent. Suddenly I realize that my father, with his suit, his coffee and his superficial concern, is part of that crowd. I sweep my eyes over the room again. I try to put myself in the place of these people who truly don't understand what could be so absurd about sipping a coffee in a bar as the planet becomes slowly and inexorably inhospitable. I don't have the strength or the wish to get angry. I know that many of them did what they could, did their best just like my father. I tell myself that maybe if they started trying to change things sooner, they'd have had a chance of success. I turn to my father. Dad! Wake up! Wake up. Hand on my shoulder. Firm, but gentle. He shakes me softly. I open my eyes. Nora leans over me. Face silhouetted against the red light. Come here. It's time. I sit up. Wearily. It's well into the afternoon. It'll soon be time to break camp. Nora is already up again, her back turned to me. Take Nora in my arms. It's a simple joy, but one that could be too easy to forget. We remain entwined a few instants. Then slowly, reluctantly, we separate. She will go to wake the rest of the company while I assemble our meager possessions. It's not much to assemble. A few worn bags, some basic tools, knife, mallet, ropes, stakes, our tent, and our precious flasks, soon empty. Hi Aji, schön, dass du da bist. Geht's? I emerge from the tent and go to join Sam beneath the burning late afternoon sun. His gaze is far away. If all the water have left to see the world through his eyes, even for just a few moments. To see just how different it is to see the one I see. He seems so calm, peacefully seated in a nest of motley, worn fabrics. His little shape silhouetted against the vermilion sky wavers placidly like a fragile promise. Our eyes meet and a pure fleeting joy lights up his face. Das Gefühl, es ist schön, was du da vorliest. Es ist auch schön, es ist, es tut mir leid, dass es nicht auf Deutsch ist. Also, weiß ja, du hast da Probleme mit Englisch. Es ist leider auch nur noch in Französisch sonst verfügbar. Ja. Ich glaube, für sie würde sich keine deutsche Übersetzung lohnen, weil das wird sehr viel Text sein. Dir keinen Kopf wegen mir. Aber ich nehme gerne Rücksicht auf dich. Oder, wie kann man es besser ausdrücken? Oh, doch. Ich glaube, so kann man es eigentlich auch kurz und gut ausdrücken. Und mach du dir keinen Kopf darüber, worüber ich mir Kopf mache. Das ist schon alles okay. Okay. Was der Fehler ist? Der E17. Und ich glaube, dann kannst du auf Schleudern stellen. Und schleudern und abspülen, glaube ich. Natürlich. Ah. Oh doch. Nein, Archie, musst du nicht. Bin so auf den MMORPGs unterwegs. Laber nicht weiter. Ja, aber das Ding ist, MMOs, die Geschichten, die in MMOs erzählt werden, die sind ja auch nicht der Hauptteil. Das Wichtige an MMOs ist ja das Gameplay. Und hier, bei diesem Spiel, ist das Gameplay ja auch, das ist die Story super wichtig. Wir werden jetzt hier Entscheidungen treffen. Und, naja, weiß nicht. Es ist auch einfach zu schön geschrieben und zu schön dargestellt, dass ich sagen könnte so, interessiert mich nicht. Ich meine, können wir schon machen, aber ich glaube, dann haben wir nachher Probleme, wenn wir Entscheidungen treffen wollen. Lies bitte weiter. Ich möchte weiter zuhören, auch wenn ich es nicht verstehe. Es hört sich sehr angenehm an. Gerne. Was ist Mucke? Hast du jetzt davon schleudern oder abspülen? Oder? Okay, cool. Schauen wir mal. Ja, für die Leute, die jetzt nicht wissen, ich habe im Hintergrund gehört, wie die Waschmaschine, nicht die Spülmaschine, die Waschmaschine rumgepiept hat. Ich verwechsel übrigens immer das Wort Waschmaschine und Spülmaschine. Immer. Ich habe das in den WG-Chat reingeschrieben. Hey, die Spülmaschine gepiept. Und Leute so, Spülmaschine oder Waschmaschine? Waschmaschine, sorry. Und dann so, ja, also von uns ist keine Wäsche drin. Genau. Und ich dann so, wait, ich erinnere mich, das ist ja auch meine Wäsche. Ich habe vorher nämlich ein paar Handtücher reingeworfen, weil ich auch gerade die Teppiche im Bad nicht reingeworfen habe. Und ich habe es einfach total vergessen, weil ich, keine Ahnung. Ja. Und, genau. Falke war jetzt nett und hat sich kurz drum gekümmert. Du hörst Aubergine. Warte mal. Warum hörst du Aubergine? Weil ich Spülmaschine gesagt habe, hast du Aubergine verstanden? Auch sehr gut. Auch sehr gut. Okay. I brush my hand through his hair. He stands up, stretches and rests his head against my chest all the time watching the horizon. Do we have to leave, Daddy? As my angel. We have to leave. I'm sorry. Forgive me. So. At the end of lines, you will have to organize several camps for your company of travelers. Inaya has dipped into our provisions to make a hot meal for the company. At the beginning of each camp, the company used their resources to feed themselves. The narrator then takes stock of the resources according to how many characters in the company. Da hat, glaube ich, ein R gefehlt. Our resources are shrinking, but we still have enough to hold out. Currently, the resources and the number of people in the current company are balanced. If your resources are too scarce, some members of the group may leave the company. I suggest an expedition to explore the surroundings. The narrator tells you which characters are exhausted and cannot participate in the expedition. Naya is exhausted. Sam is exhausted. War das Sam, unser kleiner Sohn? Wir können ihn alleine auf Expedition. Ja, Junge. Oh. You must then choose which members of the group you must send on the expedition. These characters that you choose will have to rest, cannot participate in an expedition at the next camp. Warning: a character may be tired for various reasons, even if they haven't been on the last expedition. Okay. Man kann. Das Witzige ist aber, also aus anderen Spielen kenne ich zum Beispiel, dass du trotzdem Inaya und Sam jetzt noch auswählen könntest, aber halt mit dem Risikobewusstsein von wegen, okay, die sind erschöpft. Das heißt, die haben jetzt eine höhere Chance für Fehlschlag oder eine Verletzung oder sonst irgendwas Kritisches. Das finde ich eigentlich immer ganz gut, wenn das eine Möglichkeit ist, weil, keine Ahnung, wenn du jetzt sagst, okay, wir müssen jetzt aber die Leute rausschicken oder, keine Ahnung, Rafik muss in der nächsten Expedition definitiv verfügbar sein, weil, keine Ahnung, ich weiß nicht, wie die Story aufgebaut ist, ich weiß nicht, wie das Gameplay aufgebaut ist, aber manchmal will man ja, dass dieser eine Charakter in der nächsten auf jeden Fall dann kann. Und auch gut ausgeruht ist oder sowas. Und das könnte ich jetzt hier nicht machen. Aber gut, dann schicken wir Rafik, I guess. Can now add other people to the expedition or confirm the group as it is and launch the expedition. Okay, wir können tatsächlich Sam alleine losschicken. Das ist ein bisschen witzig. Komm. Rafik und Soen. Mein Soen ist jetzt neu. Komm hier, die zwei gehen alleine los. Scavenging team is complete. The number of people sent in a state of fatigue determines the amount of resources gathered during the expedition. The expedition finds a riverbed, but it's dry. Its course has been deviated to an old irrigation tank which does still contain a little water. The team filters and boils the reclaimed water. Genau, ganz wichtig. Wenn ihr irgendwann mal, drück uns allen die Daumen, dass es nicht passiert, falls ihr irgendwann mal in so eine Situation kommt, wo ihr stehendes Wasser in einem Container, und das irgendwie in einer warmen Gegend ist, dass ihr das konsumieren müsst, das ist potenziell nicht safe. Falls ihr irgendwer schon mal Legionärskrankheit gehört hat als Name, das ist, weil das hauptsächlich bei Legionären passiert ist. Und wie kommt's? Legionäre sind meistens irgendwo halt irgendwie Söldner irgendwo in der Wüste oder so und die haben halt dort stehendes Wasser, um zu duschen. Und aus diesem stehenden Wassertank wird dann ganz oft eben einfach wird halt die Dusche betrieben, das ist dann warm, kannst du wunderbar auf Leute streuen. Und das Ding ist halt durch die Zerstäubung, die halt durchs Duschen passiert, atmen viele Leute das ein. Und das Wasser, das so rumsteht, ist halt perfekter Nährungsgrund, um Legionellen, also diese Legionärskrankheit, Grundlage eben zu züchten. Und deswegen haben wir hauptsächlich Legionäre das gehabt. So, wisst ihr das jetzt auch. Deswegen, warmes, stehendes Wasser, nicht gut. Unsere kleine Dusche auf Arbeit, weil die nie genutzt wird. Ja, also genau, da bei sowas schauen, dass ihr, also vor allem so Wasser, nicht einatmen, also schauen, dass ihr da Schutzmaßnahmen eben macht, falls ihr da in die Verlegenheit kommt. Und achtet auch darauf. Ne? Random Wissen mit Gerun. Habe ich beim Bund gelernt. Ja. Deswegen mussten wir in unserer Physioschule die Dusche einmal pro Woche 5 Minuten laufen lassen. Genau. Also dann passiert es halt weniger selten, wenn man das einfach mal regelmäßig macht. Halt, das ist kein Problem. Genau. Dadurch, dass man es einatmet, durch die Verstäubung oder halt auch dadurch, dass es jetzt dann dampft, atmet man das halt ein und dann setzt es sich in die Lungen und da ist das Problem. Aber wenn man es trinken würde, wäre es, glaube ich, safe. Vielleicht nicht lecker, aber halt safe. Wenn man es aber halt einatmet, ist es schlecht. So, the resources which have been collected are added to your provisions. Kann man und das ist irgendwie so ein Zahlding oder ist es nur ein Schätzding? Das wäre nicht jetzt noch interessant zu wissen. Be aware that certain situations and decisions will not be available to you if the balance between your resources and the number of travelers is unfavorable. Ja, schätzungsweise könnten wir keine neuen Leute aufnehmen, wenn wir merken, dass wenn wir zu wenig Wasser haben. Bloß nicht trinken, trinken auch nicht gut, trinken auch nicht gut. Ich meine, einfach abkochen und dann seid ihr safe. A few minutes later, everything is packed up. We're ready to leave. The horizon shimmers with vivid shifting colors from the sinking sun. I contemplate the spectacle, as magnificent as it is strange, searching for some clue that will allow me to predict the weather that waits us in the next few hours. The wind has fallen, but this lull may be deceptive. I look over our small company. One thing is sure, it's that we're all travel weary. In Iron Zone, in particular, who seem at the end of their strength. They're not used to the forced marches yet. That will come. They don't lack courage. In the meantime, I could offer to share out some of the weight of their packs among the other travelers. Even Rafik, who carries... Haji, was? Du hast doch... Vielen lieben Dank. Du hast doch gerade erst schon 5 Subs hier reingeschickt. Aber dann, Essentia, Angry, Robert, Sophia und Mengil. Herzlich willkommen bei uns, lieben Abonnenten. Ja, und ja, es ist so. Lieben Dank. Vielen lieben Dank. So, und jetzt habe ich dummerweise natürlich den Emotes-Button schon wieder hier nicht griffbereit. Aber hier, ne? Haben wir hier mal wieder ein paar Emotes. Cheers, Bashi. Und auf dich, Archie. Darauf das Glas heben, auf jeden Fall. Knack, knack, knack. So, schön wieder die Brust aufknacken lassen. So. Ich liebe den Sound. Es ist wunderschön, dass ich mich so drauf gepavlot habe, dass, wenn ich dieses Lied höre, auch das ursprüngliche Lied, von dem es ja herkommt, dann bin ich glücklich. Weil mein Kopf es verbunden hat mit, du bekommst Geld, Junge. So. Also es ist irgendwie sehr, sehr witzig, dass mein Kopf wirklich so einfach, das ist mein Happy Song. Ich meine, davor hat mich das Lied schon echt glücklich gemacht. Also das ursprüngliche Lied ist ja Shooting Stars von Back Raiders. Und das ist einfach ein super gute Laune-Lied. So, hier, warte. Falls ihr es noch nicht kennt, Back Raiders. So, alle wieder wach. So, gibt's das... Hier gibt's auch das... Du bist verwirrt? Warum bist du verwirrt? So, ich habe hier mal den Link. Ah, das hat der Link zu dem wunderbaren Video sein. Also das Video ist auch total Banane von dem Video, aber just saying. So. Even Rafik, who carries the heaviest load, looks exhausted. Hä? Ich das Spanische geschrieben habe und keine Ahnung warum. Weil ich das Spanische geschrieben. Ah! Das ja. Ja, witzig, genau. Genau, falls sich irgendwer schon mal gewundert hat, wenn irgendwie Leute ja irgendwie unter irgendwas drunter schreiben, das sind nicht Deutsche, die sagen so ja, sondern das ist hahaha auf Spanisch. Ich denke da gerade an das Projekt von Pavlov wegen der Erklärung, dass du dich über die Melodie freust. Hi Sophia, wie geht's dir denn? Ja, Tag war okay. Ich habe heute 3 Stunden geschlafen. Ich bin um 1 ins Bett gegangen, also mittags. Und ich habe Beyond Contact durchgespielt. Ja, witziges Spiel. Hat am Ende sehr viel Fighting. Aber ja. So ein Top-Down-Survival-Game. Das hatte ich euch dem Letzt gezeigt. Ich habe es jetzt nur dann offstream mal zu Ende gespielt. Hat mich irgendwie 16 Stunden gekostet. Waren gute 16 Stunden. So. Even Rafik, who carries the heaviest load, looks exhausted. We haven't eaten for several days and it's getting harder and harder to find water. He also seems to be surveying the land, requests information on what is coming. His experience is always welcome. Perhaps he's noticed a detail that escapes me. Sam and Nora are chatting. There still is the most unwavering of the company. Nora never seems to suffer, not from hunger nor from fatigue. And tacitly, we all do what we can so that Sam is fed in priority. Muss man dich zu vernünftigen Zeiten ins Bett zwingen? Also, je nachdem, wer mich da zwingen will ins Bett. Egal. Manji sagt eindeutig ja. Ja. So, zu wem gehen wir jetzt? Gehen wir zu Inaya und Zone, sagen denen nochmal so, hey, hier. Gehen wir zu Rafik und sagen so, hey, hier, was hast du gesehen? Legolas, sag mir, was sehen deine Elbenaugen? Du bist immer noch meine Tochter, denk dran. Ja. Also deswegen, die Frage war ja, wer mich zwingen will. Ganz wichtige Frage. Und ja. So. Also von dir lasse ich mich nur anders zwingen. Also auf die... Nicht Daddy-Daughter, sondern auf die Vater-Tochter. Okay? Banshee mit dem Nudelholz. Schwierig, glaube ich. Sowas kann man doch nicht bringen, wenn ich gerade trinke. War knapp, wo ich spucke es wieder aus. Aji. Schlucken. Nicht spucken. So. Ich hoffe, du hast gerade nicht wieder getrunken. Ansonsten wäre das natürlich jetzt blöd. So. Komm, wir gehen uns zu Rafik und fragen ihn mal, was in seinen Elbenaugen. His face is cheerful as he watches me approach. It doesn't look too bad. No storms in sight today. But there'll be some wind. Yep. Maybe a lot of wind. He studies the land before responding. That's possible. We could fork south a bit, pick up the old asphalt road. We'd have better luck finding shelter if it blows too much. Frowns. It's not good for the feet, asphalt. Or the knees. No. With caught in a storm, it'll be worse. Yeah. Picks up his pack and fastens it on carefully, spreading out the load and minimizing the risk of injury. But the wind's not for sure. If we keep straight on, we'll have crossed this damn desert in 2 days, and even if we detour, we're not sure to find shelter. Sicher? Fragt Aji und Sophia. Nur so, was drin ist, bleibt drin. Ich weiß jetzt nicht, ob ich hier jetzt den Satz bringen will von wegen, ne, siehst du mal, was deiner Tochter beigebracht hast. Ich glaube, lassen wir lieber. So. You're right, we'll bend our backs and keep going straight. Okay. Lass das lieber, ja? Deswegen haben wir das auch gelassen. No. Bietet Banshee da schon wieder? Ah, einen Tisch. Okay. Ich hab kurz gedacht, sie flietet eine Tafel Schokolade. Wäre ein bisschen arg. Rafik gives off a friendly pat on the shoulder. Ich gehe. Nein, Sophia, geh nicht. Alles gut. Ah ja, das machst du. Was habt ihr für Wochenendpläne? Habt ihr irgendwie gute Pläne fürs Wochenende? Ich weiß ja, meins wird eher so musikalischer. Potenziell Bands zu hören. Gucken. Samstag, glaube ich. Sonntag, glaube ich nicht. Also jedenfalls nicht für dich. Ist sonntags nicht mehr? Ja. Ganz okay.
Ja.
Nö. Ich hab nur für morgen geschaut. So. Und so, Bungie geht morgen auf ein Ritter-Wikinger-Fest. Hört sich gut an. Und dein neues Klemmbaustein-Set soll morgen ankommen. Ja, gut. Dann kannst du ja... mir fällt dummerweise kein Pan auf Lego ein. Egal, das ist jetzt durch. Schade. Nee, das ist kein Dini neben mir. Das ist ein Falke. Und auch nicht das kleine rattige Ding, sondern
Hi.
anders rattig.
Mein Gehirn hat gerade die ganze Zeit noch versucht, einen Pan aus Lego zu bauen. Und da du vorhin noch meintest, Legolas, was sind deine Elbenaugen? Bin noch zu keinem Pan gekommen, aber lassen wir das.
Genau. Aber ja, man sieht dich gerade nicht.
Hi. Oh Gott.
Wieder zu.
Hi.
Nee. Wieder wer zu Gast. So, we've been walking for several hours when the wind picks up. Our progress quickly becomes difficult. We're forced to protect our faces from the dust which stings our cheeks and blinds us. With the sun beginning to set, it's going to get more and more difficult to stay on course. I hope it won't last long, but there's nothing to suggest that it won't get any worse. On the contrary. I turn back to the convoy. Naya is sheltering behind Sohn, who himself is having trouble staying upright. They won't get much further at this pace. If the storm really picks up, we'll have no choice but to abandon them. I cannot resolve myself to do that and decide to head full south. I'll have more luck finding shelter in that direction. I wave my arms to indicate my decision to the rest of the company. Rafik nods that he's understood the message. March is a bit easier in this direction, but I continue to scan our surroundings, looking for a shelter, ruin, even a ditch that could protect us from the wind until it drops. This country isn't as welcoming as we'd hoped, but it's still better than where we've come from. Yet, the first days when we finally landed after all the sacrifices we'd had to make to get here, we'd regained a whisper of hope. Not so long ago. So, Herr Sophia, was baust du denn mit einem Klemmbaustein-Set? Also was ist es denn für ein Set? I remember, we'd been skirting the coast for 7 days. The crossing had been a nightmare. We'd have preferred to forget. We'd been prepared for demanding times, but none of us had expected to have to overcome such an ordeal. When we finally landed, we were no longer a tribe nor a company, just 4 survivors. I talked to Sam a lot. I made up stories. I wanted to protect him as much as possible from the relentless violence of this world, but I believed that mainly it was him who helped me. If it hadn't been for him, I'd have given up long ago. Nora, Rafik, Sam and I, we wandered along the devastated beaches. The ocean had invaded the old coastal villages. Considering the amount of destruction, it hadn't happened gently. Impossible to tell if it was the result of a single devastating tsunami or of successive storms, but only ruins remained. And everything led us to believe it wasn't over yet. The sea was calm on our arrival, but the bleak, deserted scenes that we crossed prompted us to be careful. Most surprising were the crabs. The beaches were covered. Everywhere they teemed over the ruins of the flooded buildings. Sometimes we'd be hypnotized by inanimate objects. In the distance, their shapes seemed to distort with frenetic, grotesque gasping. One day, suddenly, the clouds spread apart and a pale blue sky appeared. I remembered as if it was once more before my eyes. The colors that until then had seemed missing from the coastal landscape began to glitter. Sam takes my hand and points at a crab-covered rock nearby. "Look, Daddy, the blue!" And yes, in the sun, the crabs are a radiant cyan blue with shades of green on the shell and their pincers ranging from orange to scarlet depending on the specimen. A long while, we marvel at the beauty of the scene. "Hey Daddy, do you know why there's so many?" It's hard to say. At some point, these crabs must have found themselves without predators. That must be why they've been able to reproduce so much. I'd guess maybe it's linked to the disappearance of the birds. Because they're spies from the CIA. I don't add that they're probably a species of scavengers. Anyway, we know what we're having for dinner. Are we stopping soon? A little bit further on, I can make out the shimmer of the white walls of a half-submerged village. Yes, do you see the ruins over there? Sam nods. We'll walk as far as there and then we'll take a break, okay? As we pass the first wave-beaten, salt-eaten stones of the town, surprised to see human figures in some of the roofs. Humans, alive. I count about 10 at most. They watch us, unmoving. They don't seem aggressive, but still remain on our guard. As we get closer, I realize that it's difficult to identify them. The figures are bundled up in shapeless rags. Their ages are clear. A little child or an old woman I can see there? Perhaps a small boy. It's possible to tell. It's even more troubling when we notice that they're moving away from us as we move forward. But that they maintain distance which doesn't allow us to glimpse their eyes. Just the eerie shadows of hollowed sockets. Gruselig. Yes. Ein Blumentopf, der gleichzeitig eine Katze ist. Ah, ich war gerade irritiert, was der Satz war. Okay. Ein Klemmbau-Set. Vielleicht Folterbau-Set, um dich ins Bett zu zwingen, damit du auch zu einem gesunden Schlaf kommst. Eine Banshee, dafür musst du schon selber herkommen. Du musst mich schon selber fesseln, Feigling. Oder wie war das? Daddy, why are they backing away? I think they're afraid of us. But why don't they run away then? Maybe they're afraid but curious too? Okay. Oh, they're waiting for the right moment to pounce on us. He's not wrong. That thought had crossed my mind too. Nora smiles. Let them come though. We'll introduce them to Rafik. She jerks her thumb at our imposing companion. Rafik's lost much of his magnificence during the crossing, but despite everything, his form remains impressive. Maybe too impressive, actually. Yet under his gruff exterior, Rafik has always been good with people. He's got a knack for quickly gaining people's trust, and his imposing build makes him rather reassuring. Rafik, do you want to go and talk to them? Sure, I'll manage to catch one. Choose the one who studied foreign languages while you're at it. Rafik laughs. Maybe I should go instead. No, don't worry, we're joking, come here. Grabs my shoulder. It'll be fine. Rafik takes a deep breath and advances on one of the groups with a firm tread. Halfway he makes a friendly gesture towards them. To my surprise, he seems to manage to start a conversation. Rafik puts his backpack at his feet and pulls out several objects. Can't make out what they are, but he attracts the attention of the others who draw nearer. After a few minutes of discussion, Rafik turns to us and invites us to join him. When we get there, the inhabitants have moved away. It looked like that went quite well, did it? Not bad, they're interested in our fabrics. Seeing how they're dressed, that's not surprising. Yeah, their only clothes stores are down there. Point at the water, from which only the tallest buildings of the former village emerge. Most of the clothes didn't stand up to the salt water, so they're buck naked, so to speak. I see. You give them something. I put aside far too much fabric to repair the tent. I figured we could spare it. I did well. Nora doesn't appear to agree. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice her frown of disapproval. We're going to fish out some more useful stuff anyway. The gaze stops on the church bell tower, battered by the waves. Fish? Rafik laughs. Dive down there and fight what we want. Seems very impressed. Do you know how to swim that deep? Me, no, but your father. Turns to look at me. I shrug. Sam's hopping with glee. First time he's shown such strong emotion since crossing. It's impossible to get more than a few words out of him and even less a smile in these last few days. Seeing his eyes sparkle again, I can't help feeling a bit relieved. Okay, it's a worth it try. Let's start by finding a good place to dive from. They pointed out a spot to me. Follow me. We set up on a roof edge. The water looks clear at the surface, but it's impossible to see the bottom. A woman with stringy white hair brings Rafik an old patched up diving mask and a pair of unmatched fins. Sam bombards me with questions about these strange objects while I try my best to adjust them to my feet. The woman gives us instruction in a Spanish too rapid for us to comprehend, but a movement allows us to guess where to begin our search. I begin my exploration. quickly realized that the fins, decrepit as they are, provide a crucial advantage. The currents, made unpredictable by the remains of buildings and street fixtures, are too chaotic to hope to swim without equipment. After attempting a few dives, I began to accustom myself and managed to limit my movements to hold my breath for longer. Light fades fast with the depth. I still got enough visibility to make out the surreal backdrop of a paved undersea road. Racks of vehicles remaining there have transformed into arthropod shelters. I'm reminded of a time when the seaside resorts were packed with noisy tourists. Bottom is more than 4 meters down, but I don't need to go that far. I try a few openings, windows and doors, trying to find a promising spot. I surface to get some air after each attempt. Finally, I set my sights on what looks like an old mini-market. I go back to tell the others. Nora and Sam are waiting for me at the surface. The white-haired woman watches us carefully from a short distance away. We should move a few blocks on over to the west. I think there's something interesting. But we'll have to swim at least over that roof over there. Alright, but Rafiq's gone to look around. I think he's negotiating something with the locals. I should stay here with the bags. Okay, fine. Me, I want to come. Alright, but you'll have to swim, buddy. Hesitation crosses his face in a fleeting flash. The ocean made him suffer so much during the crossing, this would be a good opportunity to reconcile him. I stop myself from bursting with joy when he jumps into the water to join me, swimming clumsily. Not bad for a kid of the desert, but at that speed we won't get there before tomorrow. It's hard, there's waves. There are. Here, grab on here. Keep your head out of the water. Nora throws his net. Don't forget that, to bring back your plunder. With Sam clinging to my back, I cross the 50 meters which separate us from the closest roof. I get my breath back, then we set up a few dozen meters further on the ruins of a stone tower, clearly dating from medieval times. The structure scarcely emerges from above the water, sometimes where a wave submerges it almost completely. It'll be alright for Sam. Mini-market is just underneath. What's a mini-market? Kind of a little supermarket. What's a supermarket? A place where you find a merchant who sells a bit of everything, you know? Oh, okay, a super merchant? Yes, that's it. Right, I'm going. Be careful. And mind you, don't get nipped. The big crabs are roaming over the old stones. Their scarlet pincers are formidable. I check our position with a short dive and I take a few minutes to ready myself. Inhale, exhale. The bottom is more than 5 meters deep here. If I manage to hold on 2 minutes struggling against the current, I'll be doing well. I have to progress in stages. I do a few dives, scout things out. I save some time on this descent by guiding myself down the tower wall. I quickly spot a few interesting objects. I'm going to bring you some things, Sam. You ready? Okay, I'm ready. Daddy? Yeah? How do you get yourself pointing down when you go down? The star? Call that a duck dive. It's a movement to go head down without using too much energy. Looks like how ducks dive. He looks at me with round eyes. I realize he's never seen a duck. It's a bird that swims on the water. Oh yes, do you think there are some left somewhere? Yes, I'm sure. Migrant birds were the first to suffer from the brutality of the climate change, but even the non-domestic ducks weren't really wild anymore, in the lands where I lived. They'd usually migrate from one protected nature reserve to another, once or twice a year. And one year, there was an uncontrollable virus. To stop it spreading, they killed all the ducks. All the ducks? Krass. Müsst ihr mal vorstellen, ihr wachst in einer Welt auf, wo es keine Enten mehr gibt. Und dann geht ihr zu, keine Ahnung, Disneyland und da steht plötzlich Donald Duck. Man hat doch gar kein Konzept davon. Oder auch insgesamt, wenn es nicht nur Enten, sondern alle Vögel. Alle Vögel tot. Und du siehst die Sesamstraße und dann gibt es Vögel. Oder du gehst halt zu Disneyland und da sind auch verschiedene Vögel. Das ist doch seltsam. Nicht vorstellbar. Ja, aber ich glaube... Okay, aber ich meine, wenn wir halt aufwachsen würden in so einer Welt, wo auch nicht wirklich so auch Bilder von Enten noch gibt. Obwohl, ich meine, der Junge wächst ja jetzt auf, ohne das jetzt zu wissen, dass es Enten gab. Das heißt, er wird vermutlich auch noch nie eine Ente gesehen haben. Schauen, ob es jetzt mir gleich instant zu warm wird. Oder was ich schade finde, ist immer, wenn ich das so mache, wie ich das mache, dann ist nach dem Duschen immer so gar kein Volumen in den Haaren drin und es sieht dann sehr, sehr flach aus. Schade finde. Aber ja, egal. The ones left are far away. Yes, pretty far. They are in heaven. Almost heaven. All's good. I'm bringing a good quantity of canned food that I hope is still edible, especially the fruits, which we sorely lack. I also find some nylon, polyester equipment which you could use, tents, parkas, waterproof capes and shoes. Last, I even find a watertight first aid kit, always complete. It's a great find. Sam clings to my neck again as we set off in the currents to rejoin the group. The ebbing tide doesn't make the task easier, but by grasping the walls of the buildings I manage to progress little by little. I'm not displeased when Rafik pulls Sam, our wet-filled net, and me onto dry land. After detaching several blue crabs from my clothes, I slowly get my breath back under the end of afternoon sun. Rafik himself seems to be dancing with impatience. I'm asking why. I got to know the locals while you were playing at Frogman. Impressed by your fishing, they're open to some trading. Something tells me they'll give us crab. Even though I'm not completely reassured, we don't really have any choice. We're starving. And I know Rafik's nobody's fool. A wave of hot air laden with sand slaps me in the face and recalls me to reality, dragging me from my memories. The wind's so strong now, we're forced to shout to hear each other, ready to point to the first adequate shelter. Once again, luck seems to smile on us when I glimpse through the waves of dust the outline of a long building, an old hangar or a warehouse. Signal to the company, we hurry toward the building. Circle the building until we find a way in. The structure must be at least 15 meters long by 7 or 8 wide. The huge silos that backed onto it have long since collapsed. The main door is sealed, but we find a side entrance which Rafik managed to force with a few big knocks from his shoulder. Ich hab's euch schon mal gesagt, aber ich sag's wieder. Nicht mit der Schulter Türen öffnen. Ans Schloss treten. Mit flachem Fuß. Nicht Schulter, sonst macht ihr nur eure Schulter kaputt. Irgendwann, glaube ich, muss ich das irgendwann als Video machen, wo wir eine Tür auftreten und nicht irgendwie mit der Schulter. Vielleicht muss ich mal bei Jehovas Zeugen Jehovas mal in so ein Trainingscenter gehen und dann, da gibt es ja genügend Türen und dann machen wir mal ein Video davon. Von links kam gerade ein bitte was? Was hat dich jetzt an dem Satz verwirrt? Das Trainingscenter der Zeugen Jehovas?
Ja.
Es gibt dieses wunderbare Bild mit also vermutlich aus einem Inneneinrichtungsding oder sonst was, wo halt 30 Türen nebeneinander stehen, damit du mal die Türen sehen kannst, damit du...
Ja.
Und es ist getitelt mit Zeugen Jehovas Trainingscenter. Ja, genau. Contrast once inside is striking. Even the clatter of the debris on the metal roof seems gently to us in comparison to the roar of the storm. Inaya and Sowen collapse on the floor as soon as they're through the door. Rafik, do you remember the crabs? A grin sneaks across his face. Yeah, that was a good laugh. The crabs? Inaya and Sowen have got their breath back. They sit on the ground, their backs against the wall. It was a while before we met you, and we were still on the coast. Rafik managed to get us invited to supper by the survivors of a flooded village. We were told that the coast was dangerous. Yes, they couldn't stay there much longer, but the ocean is going to keep rising. And in any case, their resources are very limited. Those people had almost nothing, but they didn't stop them sharing everything they did have with us. We were very lucky considering the circumstances. I was surprised you didn't dance. We were all exhausted. I could hardly stand. And still, Mummy's a great dancer. At least the soup was pretty good. Did they have fresh water? A little. They developed a rudimentary filtration system. I used their resources to improve it. I even left them most of our fabric stock. I hope it'll help them keep their system working a bit longer. But they did have lots of crabs. Oh yes, the crabs. They even tried to bring some live ones in a bucket of water. Well, yeah, that wasn't a great idea. They didn't last long, the poor things. Yeah, that was a heartbreaker. They even tried to dig through the bottom of the bucket to find some coal. That's right, yes. Poor creatures. You really had to eat them to alleviate the suffering, didn't you? You didn't exactly refuse to eat them either, if I remember right. In any case, that was all thanks to you, Rafik. You hadn't made contact with those people, we'd never have shared that meal. What can you do? That's just how I am. Way cool. Nora chuckles. It would be way cool if you helped us set up camp. Naya and Soen aren't ready to get up yet, and Sam's fallen asleep on his pack. Rafik, Nora and I set up what's needed for everyone to rest. All the same, I've often thought that you must have had a plan in the back of your head, Rafik. Of course, but she won't like it. Keep talking. If we find another peaceful community after we've crossed this damn desert, we could set up a trade route between the two. Everyone would be better off, and us, we could, let's say, profit a little. You're right. Oh? I don't like it. Figured. You know very well it wouldn't work. Even if we find other communities, we can't act like the changes are going to stop here. The situation is going to keep getting worse. I know. That's not going to happen in a day. We'd have a little time to get what we could out of the scam before we'd have the split. And a break would do us good, don't you think? I lifted Sam and put him gently onto a makeshift bed before answering. Not like that. But no, we have to keep going. Further north. Rafik shrugs. Blind. Okay. Suddenly Nora calls us. It looks like there's something here. Examine the building with renewed interest. After a moment I discern a kind of growth in the floor, and after clearing a thick layer of the dust and rubble, I discover a crudely forged bolted metal plate complete with 2 handles. Well spotted, Nora. Beak and I take position on either side of the hatch. On 3. The plate is unwieldy, but we manage to lift it just enough to slide over and clear the opening. The first thing we find is a thick layer of straw, clearly very old. A strange smell immediately assails my nostrils. I gesture Rafik to back away. What is that? Cereal? Wheat, maybe? Sniff again. We should ventilate. Help me. Beneath the curious gaze of my companions, I climb onto Rafik's shoulder to reach a little window high up. After several bangs on the lintel, it finally yields, letting the sand and burning air rush in and almost making me lose my balance. The screaming of the wind and deafening thunder of the sand on the sheet metal fill our shelter, but I'd rather that than asphyxiate. Once the room has been aired, I go back to get a handful of grains to examine more closely. Did you find wheat? Is it still good? It looks more like barley. In fact, it seems fine. I look at the grains in the palm of my hand. It's hard not to be moved by the beauty of these precious, fragile little pearls. They stored them underground? I nod. It's a very old method, not well known and hard to implement, but I've heard that you could preserve cereals for decades this way. Witzig, dass wir gerade erst im Discord davon hatten, von wegen, wie man Weizen lagert, ne? Und wie es dazu kommen kann, dass das Weizenlager explodiert. Ich glaube, wir haben eine Person gefunden, die es nicht gelesen hat. Ich glaube, es war... weiß noch jemand im Chat, wo das war? War das was Today I Learned? Oder war es Random Bilder? Eins von beiden. Und du kannst suchen nach Inconvenient Explosions.
Sure.
Yes. Saying that, I think it would be better to wait a few hours for the gas to escape before checking if it's edible. Naya and Stone speak to each other in low voices. Zeke's already looking for fuel to make a fire. Nora has begun to set up the camp. We set up our makeshift camp out of the wind. Naya and Stone are talking in low voices. Sam's woken up on top form. Thrilled by our discovery, he can't keep still. Afik and Nora are collecting fuel to make a fire. As at every camp, I share out our rations as fairly as possible before checking our stocks of food, water and materials. We need to ration our reserves. They won't be sustainable much longer. Ja, ich glaube, wenn jetzt da draußen der Sandsturm ist, sollten wir nicht auf Expedition gehen. Sondern einfach hier drin bleiben. Aber es ist tatsächlich spannend. Wir haben jetzt, seitdem wir hier angefangen haben, eigentlich fast nichts an Gameplay gehabt. Wir haben bisher hauptsächlich gelesen. Ja, das ist schön. Aber falls ihr euch das holt, ist es so ein Ding, was ihr so im Hinterkopf behalten müsst. I suggest we stay in the shelter and regain our strength for now. Prepare the camp for the night. I tell myself that it's time to have a talk with Inaya and Zone. Their hushed discussions haven't ceased since we found the cache of Barley. Got some idea what the deliberations concern, even if I haven't gotten involved up to now. Chapter 2. Me falta las estrellas. Ist es einfach nicht übersetzt oder ist es Absicht? The early hours I'm up before the others. The storm has passed, the wind is still blowing, but there's no more gale. Soren is still sleeping, but Inaya has just woken up. I'm telling myself I should wait until they're both there before I talk to them when she approaches me. I begin the conversation calmly. Good morning, Inaya. Did you sleep well? Yes, thank you. You want to say something to me? Actually, yes. Sit down among the bags near the still warm embers of last night's fire. Look, come here. So, I talked a lot yesterday. There's grain here and a little water. Maybe we could even grow something. We thought we could stay here a little while. I don't answer right away. I'm lost in the memory of the events that led to our first meeting with the young couple. A few weeks now since it happened. I see the scene now, the smell, the heat. Flashback! Also, okay, vielleicht noch eine weitere Dings zu dem, wie man... Also wer nicht auf Flashbacks steht, der sollte sehr fern von diesem Spiel bleiben. Wir wird innerhalb von diesen, keine Ahnung, paar Minuten... Das ist das zweite Flashback. Ich meine, es ist schon irgendwie cool, weil wir natürlich dadurch ja die ganzen Charaktere halt kennenlernen und so und besser kennenlernen. Aber es unterbricht halt schon irgendwie auch den Fluss einerseits. Und ja, weiß nicht. Oh ja. The stones in asphalt are so hot they make the world writhe. The air is distorted in ripples like a lurid dance that sometimes gives the enticing illusion that the surface is damp. But they're not. Everything is of course completely dry. Fata Morgana. Sooty ashes float in a foul-smelling air and the sky is murky as though masked by a thick cloak of fog, shifting colours. A route leads us to the outskirts of some big city I don't know the name of. I know it's a big risk. At any moment, a group of looters could choose to target us, but we have no choice. We critically need water and food to continue our water journey. And the rural areas have proved to be deserted, burned, long abandoned. So we move cautiously through the suburbs of the old city, the stench of burning and smoke all around us. For the time being, we haven't encountered anyone, but several clues lead us to think that the area is still occupied. Or at least it was not long ago, judging from the underlying stench of putrefaction. Putrefaction? Ich glaube, Putrefaction hätte ich lesen sollen. Our signal stopped to a small group. Rafik, Nora and Sam come closer and we speak in hushed voices. We shouldn't hang around here. I know. Sam huddles against his mother. You're right, buddy. He nods, but I can see that he's ill at ease. When we got near the city, Sam's been very nervous. I stroke his cheek fondly. Can we leave, Daddy? Yes, don't worry, we'll leave soon. Nora frowns. I don't think we'll find anything here. We need to go further in. Yeah. Companions are right, but I'm not sure I know what to do next. What would be least risky, Nora? He thinks it over for a few seconds before replying. The two of us would be faster and more inconspicuous. Rafik can stay hidden with Sam and the bags. Okay, let's do that. Sam clings even tighter to his mother. She hugs him, trying to calm him. Hey, it'll be fine. Don't worry. I'll be back very soon. Don't worry, Sam. We'll have a bit of a rest. He's pulled a pair of dice from his pocket and rolls them in the palm of his hand. The little wooden cubes knock against each other, making an oddly soothing clicking. And I have to get my own back after our last game. What do you say? Sam agrees, but still clings to Nora. Quickly look over her surroundings while she coaxes him again. Sophia, ich merke gerade, habe gerade gemerkt, dass ich vergessen habe zu essen. Na halt jetzt. Hast du vergessen zu essen oder hast du Essen gemacht und vergessen, dass du dieses Essen jetzt auch essen könntest? Das wäre natürlich jetzt unpraktisch. Aber das ist mir heute Morgen passiert. Ich habe mir Essen gemacht, war fertig und dann habe ich Stunden später eiskalt und auch schon ein bisschen angetrocknet gegessen. Das war auch schon ein bisschen unpraktisch, muss ich sagen. Nie komplett vergessen, aber mein Essen ist jetzt fertig. Ah, sehr gut. Okay, dann lass dir schmecken. Was gibt's denn Leckeres? Oh. Finally, I notice a small building, a little setback. I enter carefully through a smashed window. Many of the walls have collapsed, but it still seems to be holding up. The place has already been ransacked, which makes it a better hideout. Signal the others to join me. Rafik gathers our packs out of sight and we make up a little nest of blankets for Sam. Nora and I leave them a little water before we go. Take a flask and an empty bag. Nora takes a stick. He mostly uses it for walking, but it's also a weapon that she masters well. I don't like the idea that we'll be forced to fight, but I know that we may not have any choice. We start running, making as little sound as possible. Nora stays a few paces ahead of me. We advance in silence. All our senses are on alert to detect any possible inhabitants. The road we take heads down into the heart of the city, flanked by low buildings with stores at street level. I hear a raised voice in the distance, but I can't pinpoint the source. I continue with even more caution. Sometimes I'm obliged to step over dead bodies. Most of them are long dried up. No one has bothered to take care of their remains. The further I go into the city, the stronger the stench. After passing a large crossroads, I descend until I reach an old cafe where I can make out figures inside. Baguette überbacken mit Käse. Oh gut. Vorher gut mit Knoblauchbutter eingerieben. Das wäre gut. Stop by the broken store window and glance inside. There are 2 people busy at the counter. Men clearly occupied with sorting through materials heaped on the counter. Food, water, everything we need. About to advance on them when I feel Nora's hand on my arm. She shows me with a glance a shotgun that I hadn't noticed resting on a table. Takes a deep breath, tightens her fingers around the stick and signals me not to move. I know full well that she's about to spring on them, using the element of surprise to try and neutralize them. Oh. Also, was machen wir? I nod to show my agreement. Go get him, Tigress. I decide to go with her. I shake my head in disagreement and I move forward in the open, hands raised to try to negotiate. Ah. Schwierig. Also, was halt hier ein bisschen witzig ist eigentlich, es kann nichts passieren. Also ihr kann nichts passieren. Weil das ist ein Flashback. Wir wissen, dass sie überlebt. Das ist ein bisschen ungeschickt. Ich meine, wenn das jetzt hier chronologisch erzählt worden würde, ne, dann wäre das so in diesem Moment, wäre das so ein, oh shit, wir könnten hier die Mutter unseres Sohnes verlieren. Shit, wir könnten sie schwer verletzen. Aber da wir ein Flashback haben und sie sich gerade um unseren Sohn gekümmert hat, wissen wir einfach so, egal was wir entscheiden, die Frau überlebt das. Deswegen können wir sagen so, go get him, Tigress! Nora knows what she's doing. I remain hidden, ready to intervene. Slips in through a broken window and moves in on them silently. Like a prowling tiger. Glück, sage ich doch. Tigress. Hallo Argus, schön, dass du da bist. Genau, hast du schon gesehen, du kannst jetzt Emotes einsetzen, weil dir ein Sub geschenkt wurde. Kannst du hier diese wunderbaren Emotes einsetzen. Alle. Also ich meine, die Follow-Emotes eh schon, aber jetzt auch die ganzen T1 und die Animated. Hope you enjoy them. Sound of her steps on the glass shards at last alerts the 2 men, but they don't have enough time to react. One of them scrambles for the shotgun, but Nora has anticipated his action and picks him off with a sideways strike to the jaw. Hear the distinct crack and he collapses. His companion has had the time to snatch up a large rusty-bladed axe. Nora is unimpressed. She waits patiently for an opening and uses the length of the stick to make an unexpected swipe, which hits her adversary ankle so hard I can feel the impact myself. Lets out a cry of pain, but the stick whirls again and returns to smack him across the head. Drops like a stone, shattering a stool with his fall. Coast is clear. Hurry inside to carry away as much as possible before anyone else turns up. As we're leaving the cafe, I hear yells and the sounds of convoy coming from above. Looks like retreat is cut off. Nora hesitates. She prepared to face down a battalion barehanded to get back to Sam. I take her arm gently. Nora, no. Come on, we'll get around further down. She nods and we leave at a run, praying nobody spots us before we can disappear around the corner of the next road. I hasten across a large square, catch sight of human figures in some of the buildings, but they don't intervene. We veer from alley to alley, hoping to shake our pursuers. The further we go, the more we encounter poor folks busy digging through the ditches. They barely look up as we pour past, but they vanish rapidly when they see the men chasing us. Soon we reach the heart of the old city, paved roads lined with stone arches. Part of the city must have been magnificent at a different time. Unfortunately, the layout of the streets becomes maze-like and I'm less and less confident of our chances to escape. I'm beginning to panic when the door opens in our path and an elderly woman steps out and urges us quickly inside. Turn to check with Nora. It's really not the moment to hesitate, come here. The gloom we can make out a large untidy room. There are several people sitting or lying on the floor. The old woman who had opened the door first directs us to hurry to a small stairway that descends into the cellar. We descend into an even darker area, barely illuminated by a single candle. Looks like a former storage area now converted into a dormitory. The smell is unpleasant, but the cool of the underground room is far more bearable than the heat outside. The woman invites us to sit. We do with relief. We soon hear upheaval upstairs, but we remain silent. There's some discussion and noises fade away. We remain in complete silence for a few more minutes before thanking our benefactress. I express myself in a broken Spanish that she seems to understand. Nora listens patiently to our conversations. Thank you so much. I did what I had to do. You're travelers, aren't you? Yes, we come from the south. I'm Camille and this is my wife Nora. Nora greets her respectfully with a graceful nod. I'm Marina. Where are you going? North. To where? I don't know, as far as it takes. Yes, that's good. I've got something for you. He disappears through the trapdoor, gesturing us to wait. I use this moment of quiet to take Nora's hand. Hands, warm as they seem to me the safest thing in the world. Our fingers weave together like the threads of the same fabric. Enjoy the simple relief of being both of us alive. You have to find Sam. Yes. Can she help us? I think so. A few minutes later, Marina comes back down and proffers me an old battered map. Look, this is for you. I've been waiting to give it to you. And waiting for us? Yes, yes. What do you mean? I don't understand. It doesn't matter. Listen, the roads are unsafe. There are many dangers and much despair. If you follow the route on the map, you'll be always away from the big roads. Grateful, but I suspect that this poor woman has lost her mind. I don't know what to say. Thank you. And you do something for me in return? Very well. Tell me what I can do. I'll help you get out of the city. There's a path. Under the path, there's a house with green walls and a red door. You must stop there. Alright, and then? And then it's up to you. She takes my hands between her own. Now rest. It will soon be night and you can leave. I have things to do. She leaves us there. Okay. Mysteriös. We use this moment of respite to take stock of what we've picked up. We've had incredible luck. There's several liters of water, dried meats and cereals. Put some aside for the people who live here and we pack up the rest carefully. Haben wir eigentlich auch die Schrotflinte mitgenommen? Weil ich muss sagen, wäre voll smart gewesen, wenn wir die Schrotflinte vermutlich mitgenommen hätten. Weil, auch wenn man Pazifist ist, mit Schusswaffe in der Hand, sieht man eben nicht aus wie ein Pazifist. Und dann kann man weiter potenziell Pazifist bleiben, während alle Leute glauben, du willst sie gleich umschießen. Das ist durchaus ein Vorteil an einer Schrotflinte. Und ich weiß, das war jetzt ein sehr amerikanisch orientiertes Argument, weil das ist ja tatsächlich das Argument aller Amerikaner. So, wenn du eine Waffe hast, dann ist alles sicherer, weil du kannst ja im nächsten Moment immer umgeschossen werden, wenn der andere mit der Waffe bedrohst, weil du nie weißt, wer alles auch eine Waffe hat. Ja, aber es irgendwie denken sich das trotzdem irgendwie nicht so viele Leute und werden dann auch alle umgeschossen. This is America. Ja. Traurig, dieses Land. Night falls quickly and Marina reappears. The way is clear. Are you ready? Yes. Here, that's for you. I indicate the items picked up for her. Thank you for hiding us. Nods her head with seeing us. She nods her head with feeling, seeing the little pile of provisions. Ah, so. She takes my hand and Nora's in her own. Thank you, my children. Getting several mouthfuls from the can of water before catching her breath. Come now, follow me. Follow her to the ground floor. He exchanges a few words with an old man who heads down to the cellar to see to the distribution of the rations. Everyone hails us as we leave the room. They call us the walkers, caminantes, with respect in their voices, as though it were an honorific. Outside, the night is stifling. Temperature hasn't really dropped, even if it's a little more bearable without the sun's burning light. The night sky is shrouded with a reddish glow, although the city lighting has worked for a long time. Dann schlaf gut und träum was Schönes, Banshee. Dir noch ein wunderschönes Wochenende. Schön, dass du da warst. Marina follows my gaze and explains in a resigned tone. It is the fires. The city burns all the time. We don't notice it the daytime, but at night it's never truly dark. Explains the lingering smoke that's covered the sky since we arrived. He sighs. Me falta las itreas. I suppose that at least some of the fires is accidental. Okay, Aji, please help. The fuck did she say? Und habe ich das irgendwie halbwegs richtig ausgesprochen? Because I don't think so. Do you speak Spanish? Okay. So. Ne? Aji ist gerade nicht. Ah, da muss ich selber mal. Ah, I missed the stars. Yes. Ich vermisse die Sterne. Ja. Wann habt ihr das letzte Mal die Sterne gesehen? So richtig schön, Sternenhimmel und ja. War bei mir auch länger her. Aber ich habe mich mal mit meiner damaligen Beziehungspartnerin mit anderen Menschen auch auf so eine Decke in so ein Feld gelegt. Alle zusammengekuschelt, war echt übel kalt. Und den Sternenhimmel angeschaut, während, glaube ich, sogar Kometenschauer war oder so. Das war echt hübsch. Can recommend, would do again, would bring more Decken next time. Mehr Decken. Mehr warm. Mehr kuschelig. Marina leads us in the shadow through a maze of narrower alleys. Do we descend a flight of stone steps, we discover a vast plaza. Before us, amongst the ruins of the city, stands an immense cathedral. The size of the building astounds me. In the square at the foot of the monumental stairs that leads up to the facade, people kneeling, lit by a few candles there among the other bodies, eternally still lay on the paving. Stop to gaze at the strange scene. I noticed the ridiculously intricate swerves of the baroque facade, and below the voices intoning desperate prayers. Nora pulls on my hand, dragging me back to reality. We walk along the grand silence. Then we take several climbing roads. Protected by the darkness, we cross a large part of the city unhindered. I point out the direction of Rafik and Sam's hideout to Marina. She nods and continues to guide us. When we near the house, Nora and I hurry inside. Big is right there, keeping guard. Well, now it's about time. Sorry, we had a few incidents. Sam. Rafik frowns. So, he was very agitated, but he finally dropped off. Is he ill? No, but, you know. Yeah, we know. Nora and I. Sam tends to freak out when he's anxious. He was very tired. I'm sure he'll be better when he had something to eat and drink. We invite Marina to join us and we take time to recount our adventures to Rafik over a frugal meal. Sam wakes up and comes over to snuggle in Nora's arms for a long while when in mine, before having any food. He devours everything we offer him, except the dried meat, which he refuses to touch. As he's woken up, Marina hasn't taken her eyes off Sam. She seems hypnotized. There aren't many children around here, is that it? No. Marina seems overwhelmed by her emotions. Rafik, we've agreed to do a favor for Marina to thank her for her help. She's told us about a house where we have to stop before we continue our journey. I give our benefactress a questioning look, but she simply encourages me with a nod of her head. And in fact, I don't really know what we'll do there. Nobody can know for you what you must do. A hush follows his statement. That's deep. Marina waves away Nora's remark. There are 2 young people there. They need your help. They cannot stay there. Are they friends of yours? She shrugs but doesn't reply. Why do you want us to help these people? Time she grips my arm and looks at me, her face grave. You ask too many questions. You owe me a favor. And I'll keep my word. Rafik cements the deal. Okay, well, we've got an objective anyway. If we stayed here long enough, let's get going. Gather our things. Marina wishes us farewell. Ist wirklich seltsam mit der Frau. Before leaving, she throws herself at Sam's feet and utters a prayer to her god. Sam's not sure what to do. He strokes her hair awkwardly and helps her up. He wipes away the tears that stream down her cheeks and leaves with a faltering step after throwing a final blessing at us. Once loaded with our packs, we begin walking the streets of the upper city in search of the house with the green walls. It's a small hours of night, but the sky is still obscured. I hope we won't find ourselves trapped by the flames. Rafik walks at my side while Sam makes the most of his mother's presence. Nice work, Amir. You did a good job, you and Nora. We'll be able to hold on for several weeks without what you found. Mostly thanks to Nora. She was particularly efficient. Yeah, as usual. Kind of useless, but we love you anyway, you know? Uh-huh, says the guy who stayed hidden playing dice. You were happy enough to have me look after your sprog while you and your bird were goofing off in town. Touché, I stand corrected. Tell me, in your opinion, the dry meat you found, what kind of meat is it, do you think? It looks like pig. That was the speciality of this region before, I think. The moment I say the words, I'm gripped by doubt. He shrugs. You know, I haven't seen many pigs around here. Not even appalled by the idea that it could be flesh. Wait, human? Warum human flesh? Oh, ich dachte, war das Fleisch nicht aus dem Supermarkt? What? Habe ich irgendwas verpasst? Das war doch das Fleisch, das wir in dem Laden von den Lootern geklaut haben. Okay. Just sink deeper into apathy and resentment. Could we one day drag ourselves from this chasm of atrocity? Will we be able to live a normal life again? Got no choice, we need the protein. Okay. Ja, Longpick essen oder nicht? Spannende Frage. Und nun damit zurück zu euch ins Studio. Was machen wir? Ich meine, wir können es nie genau wissen. Und okay, wir müssen jetzt aber davon ausgehen, dass es kein Supermarkttütchen ist, so, ne? Sondern halt irgendwie, keine Ahnung, irgendwie gefunden in einem Beutel. Chancen sind also schon da, dass das irgendwie jetzt nicht 10 Jahre altes Beef Jerky ist, sondern... Oder was heißt 10 Jahre? Oh shit. Jetzt weiß ich, warum sie auf die Idee kommen, dass das Ding ist. Wait. Wie kommt das denn überhaupt, dass das... Hä, das funktioniert auch mit den Dosen nicht. Dosen halten 10 Jahre. Die meisten Dosen. So sind sie zumindest ausgelegt. Manche... Oder wohl, nee. Bundeswehrdosen halten 10 Jahre. Dosen auf so einem Supermarkt halten nicht 10 Jahre. Okay, plötzlich ergibt alles keinen Sinn mehr. Weil die sind doch schon seit 10 Jahren unterwegs. Oder? Die Apokalypse war doch schon länger her. Also das ist der einzige Grund, wie es Sinn ergeben kann, dass sie sich gerade Sorgen machen, dass sie gerade potenziell Menschen essen. Egal. Na komm. Nom 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 the humans oder so. Did yourself, but in any case, I don't think Sam will eat it. You think he knows? Could that be possible? He knows things. Er hat ja vorhin schon gezögert. Vielleicht weiß er es einfach. Thinking of the cryptic moment, comment as Sam catches up with us and points at the house. Daddy, isn't it? This one, the house? Despite the murk, we can detect the green walls that contrast with the peeling red paint of the door. The whole place is in a bad state. The facade is blackened by a fire that has already ravaged the surroundings. The blinds are patched together and the windows barricaded. Not knowing what to do, I simply knock on the door. Hallo! Wir wollen Ihnen eine, keine Ahnung, eine Lebensversicherung. Haben Sie einen kurzen Moment über Longpick zu reden? Das neue Produkt. Nora grasps my arm as I'm about to head for the doorstep. Hang on, Camille. I'm going to check out the house first. She disappears around the corner of the building. We wait in silence. She reappears a few minutes later and announces in a low voice. 3 people in a room on the west side. I think they spotted us and they're hiding. We'd better let them know we don't mean them any harm, right? Okay, but how? Rafiq shrugs and suddenly knocks on the door several times, announcing in a loud voice. Don't be scared. We don't mean you any harm. I mean, yes. We watch Rafiq baffled. Wow, talk about subtle. Sam giggles. All between amusement and concern. Sam's laughter is catching. We're surprising to give in one way on, but to the unexpected hilarity. Rafiq pretends to be annoyed. Sure, it's easy to make fun of the people who take the initiative. That's true, Rafiq. Luckily, you're here to show us the way. Yeah, the way. Way too loud. It's not all that funny, but it sets us off into another paroxysm of laughter. After a few minutes, I notice between pieces of laughter that the door is open. Die Tür öffnet sich und es stehen einfach 4 Leute mit dem Kind da und lachen sich einen Arsch ab an einer Tür, an die sie noch eben geklopft haben, so, hey, wir sind friendly, ne? Kommst du doch auch verarscht vor. Two young people watching us with astonishment. Our first contact with Inaya and Soen. They're thin, wary, pretty dirty. Nips, I don't know how long they've been hiding here, but they're clearly terrified. Who are you? We're travelers, we won't hurt you. Travelers? Yes, Marina sent us. They exchanged glances. Do you know Marina? They nod and invite us inside. There's a pungent smell inside. Rancid. Marina's a friend. She helped us to escape. Escape? The city's divided between several armed militias. It was okay with the first gang, We had to work hard, but it was okay. But when they were attacked by another gang, they moved us. We were held by force down there, forced to... She's overcome. Her companion takes her in his arms and she nestles against his chest. We've been here for days. I know they're still looking for us. If they find us, they'll kill us or worse. I sense Nora's frown. I can almost hear her furry snarl. Infuriating even if we knew it. Of course, slavery, of course, the domination, exploitation of the weakest. And will it stop? Sam steps forward and takes my hand. Can we give them something to eat, Daddy? Yes, of course. They're shocked as they finally notice Sam. A child! He's so beautiful. She kneels to put herself at Sam's side and ruffles his hair. My name's Sam. I'm Camille. This is Nora and Rafik. They introduce themselves in turn and we offer them food and drink. Naya and Son fill their bellies, weeping with joy. They thank us at almost every mouthful. I'm a little embarrassed and decide to give them some privacy for the meal. I use the chance to gather Rafik and Nora around me. Can't leave them here. You want us to bring them along the road with us? I think I might suggest it to them anyway. Do you disagree? Well, it's fine, but they can hardly stand. It's going to slow us down a lot. How far do you want them to come with us? I don't know. Just a bit further. Resources are a bit limited, but there'll be more for of us to try to find more. In the end, Naya and Son walked to their sides for long weeks. They've bonded with each of us and have shown themselves brave and willing. But today, I know they're facing a difficult choice. Now, Naya is here in front of me, waiting for my reaction. So what do you say, Camille? We could settle in this barn. Oh, schwierig. Lassen wir die jetzt hier zurück. Also, ich weiß nicht, die glauben, dass sie hier was anbauen können. Aber wächst hier noch was? In einer Wüste mit Sandstürmen? Ich glaube ja nicht. Ein großes Problem. So. Aber ich würde sagen, wir haben jetzt hier 1,5 Stunden uns das Spiel schon angeschaut. Was mich auch überrascht. Oder vielleicht sogar sind es 2 Stunden. Vielleicht sind es sogar schon 2 Stunden. Ich glaube, wir haben um halb angefangen. Nach einer halben Stunde, oder? Sehe ich das irgendwo? Irgendwie, ja, so grob. Ah ja. Und ich meine, ich tue mich auch ein bisschen schwierig, um jetzt hier ein Urteil zu fällen zu diesem Spiel. Weil wir haben jetzt hier eigentlich hauptsächlich Story gehört. Ganz, ganz viel Story. Wir haben 4, 5 Entscheidungen getroffen, wovon wir auch jetzt bisher immer wussten, dass sie uns nicht beeinflussen werden. Ich meine, hier in der Story, wie wir die beiden kennengelernt haben, wussten wir, egal was wir machen, es wird keinen Einfluss haben können auf das, was wir jetzt, also was die aktuelle Gegenwart ist. Weil es ja ein Flashback ist. Das heißt, wir können nichts machen. Nora kann kein Bein verlieren, Nora kann nicht sterben, unser Charakter wird auch nicht sterben, Sam wird nicht verloren gehen und sonst nichts, weil die sind alle in der Gegenwart da.
Also ja, leuchtete dann auch immer. Ah, genau.
Ja.
Merkt man halt. Das kommt halt erst.
Ja. Erst später irgendwann. Ja, weiß nicht. Aber ja. Es ist ein sehr Slow Burn, sagen wir mal. Also, falls ihr auf Slow Burn steht, dann das hier, würde ich sagen, ist für euch. Es ist schön. Es sieht schön aus. Es ist schön erzählt. Die Texte sind gut. Also, wenn ihr Englisch mehr könnt oder Französisch, was ich schätze, dass das potenziell die Ursprungssprache der Menschen ist. Mal nachschauen. Novabox. Wo seid ihr? Nee, es schaltet immer in diesen dummen Modus. Schade. Oder doch? Ach Gott, es geht weiter Musik. Novabox. Steht hier dran, von wo die sind? Ja, von Frankreich. Genau. Ah. Okay, aber es behauptet auch gar nicht so sehr, dass es ein Survival-Game ist. Da habe ich mich absolut irren lassen. Es ist eine Interactive Graphic Novel und dafür, glaube ich, funktioniert es auch ganz gut. Also, ne, wer so auf, oder auch Visual Novel heißt es ja im Gaming-Kontext. Eigentlich hauptsächlich irgendwelche Dating- und sonstige Spiele für gewöhnlich. Aber diesmal eben mit einem ganz, ganz krasseren Thema und ja. Und anscheinend auch dieser Erzählermechanik, die jetzt bisher angeteasert wurde, aber jetzt noch nicht wieder, keine Ahnung, noch nicht so wirklich ins Spiel kam, so dass es dann irgendwie wir was gemerkt haben. Oder vielleicht war dieser Erzählerwechsel schon, aber wir haben es nicht gemerkt, weil es halt im Hintergrund läuft und einfach nur wir an der Waage merken, wo wir gerade sind. Vielleicht ist es so. Vielleicht funktioniert das ja so. Das weiß ich nicht. Aber sonst, genau. Also mit diesem Wissen nochmal, dass das weniger ein Survival-Game ist und weniger, keine Ahnung. Da muss ich halt jetzt auch einfach ehrlich zugeben, ich habe mich sehr schlecht informiert. Und dass es eine Visual Novel ist, ja, dann passt es eigentlich alles sehr viel besser. Dann passt viel besser, wie wir gerade das Erzähltempo haben, wie das Spiel funktioniert. Ein bisschen schade fand ich halt immer noch, dass die Flashbacks auch so halt, ne, keinen direkten Einfluss haben, sondern halt so irgendwann später wird das potenziell eben Einfluss auf den Wechsel haben, wie die Geschichte erzählt wird. Aber ja, vielleicht bin ich da jetzt auch gerade von Gollum verbrannt, weil Gollum das ja auch hatte, so dass die Entscheidung, die man in dem Spiel getroffen hat, so keine also so kaum relevante Auswirkungen auf aktuelle Dinge haben. Und ja. Deswegen ein bisschen seltsam gewesen. Aber ja, gut. Aber da wir jetzt nochmal nachgeschaut haben, nochmal klargestellt haben, was das für eine Art Spiel ist, glaube ich, fühle ich mich auch viel besser, dass ich das empfehlen kann. Das ist auf jeden Fall sehr, sehr hübsch. Bin so ein bisschen invested in die Geschichte von denen. Und ich weiß noch nicht, was ich hier entscheiden würde. Was würdet ihr denn entscheiden? Würdet ihr sagen, so, ja, komm, sie sollen es hier versuchen, in der Wüste irgendwie was anzubauen? Vielleicht bauen sie dann einfach in dem Lagerhaus was an, anstatt außerhalb. Ich glaube, wenn du nicht ständig mit dem Sandsturm zu kämpfen hast und das innen drin hast und dann da irgendwie fürs Wasser sorgen musst, glaube ich, einfacher als draußen, wo du zwar auch fürs Wasser sorgen musst und ab und zu Regen bekommst vielleicht. Wer weiß. Aber dann halt immer wieder damit arbeiten musst, dass der Wind halt deine Pflanzen umbläst. Und das ist ja durchaus tödlich für die Pflanzen, ne? Wenn sie brechen, weil der Wind zu stark ist, dann hast du halt auch verschissen. Dann ist ja auch die Pflanze tot. Und ich glaube, das könnten die noch weniger vertragen. Und wenn sie innen im Gebäude irgendwie das bauen und unter halbwegs kontrollierten Umgebungen, warm genug ist es eh. Sonne kriegt man vielleicht auch noch hin, dass sie irgendwie, keine Ahnung, irgendwie eine Plane oder ein Glas einbauen. Ansonsten Vielleicht eine Möglichkeit mit Solarstrom, falls sie sowas finden. Und dann eine Grow-Lamp. Ja. Keine Ahnung, wo sie ja da gerade sind. Aber potenziell, wenn das wieder so ein Städtchen ist. Vielleicht hat sie ja auch Grow-Lamps. Wer weiß. Aber ich würde aktuell sagen, dass es zu gefährlich ist, weil da wächst halt nichts, wäre meine Einschätzung. Und wenn die jetzt keine erfahrenen Farmer sind oder halt sich noch nie damit beschäftigt haben, glaube ich, ist es so ein bisschen ein Todesurteil. Ich sag so, ja, bleibt ihr ruhig hier.
Waren halt letzten Tage waren die beiden, die ultra fertig waren, kaum noch laufen konnten. Ich weiß nicht, inwiefern die es wirklich noch länger überleben mit der Gruppe. Ob außer nicht vielleicht eher die Möglichkeit ist, dass die noch eine Weile durchhalten.
Ja, das ist so ein bisschen so die Frage, mit was leben sie länger? Weil das ja tatsächlich auch schon ein Konzern ist. Und das Problem ist halt auch, wenn sie die ganze Zeit an der Gruppe hängen, wird halt die Gruppe langsamer und damit kommen wir halt auch weniger voran. Aber ja, das ist so eine super tricky Frage und die überlasse ich euch. Ich werde einfach jetzt Alt F4 drücken und das Spiel ausmachen, damit ich mich nicht entscheiden muss. Easy.
Riesling.
Ja, und wie es dann weitergeht, das müsst ihr einfach rausfinden, wenn ihr das Spiel kauft. Oder, ja. Genau, aber vielen Dank nochmal an Novabox, die mir hier einen Key zur Verfügung gestellt haben für ihre Visual Novel. Sieht wirklich schön aus. I love their art style. It is very pretty. So, dann hoffentlich hier richtig ausgewählt und dann mit hier. Genau, ja, den gleich wieder zu sehen, ey. So. Genau. Ja. Fandet ihr das jetzt sehr fies von mir? Warte mal, musste man speichern? Musste man? Autosave? Oh. Well, maybe I lost most of it just now, but ja, okay. Ich meine, wenn es nochmal so ist, dann ist es ja nicht schlimm. Ich muss halt, also ich kann den ganzen Text skippen. Das geht ja sehr, sehr schnell. Gameplay kann ich ja nicht skippen, weil das ist halt hauptsächlich Visual Novel, wo wir uns ab und zu mal entscheiden. Aber viel davon war jetzt ja gerade zur Zeit, die wir verbracht haben, war ja Story vorlesen. Und deswegen, als ich dann tatsächlich nochmal von dort den Punkt spielen müsste, wäre das jetzt nicht so kritisch. Natürlich ungeil, aber nicht so kritisch.